Hi everybody, Honest John here. If you were planning on taking a European vacation this summer, you can forget about it. You can't get in. No American can. They've banned us from the European Union. And other countries are going to do the same thing. See, they've made great sacrifices and worked very hard to get the coronavirus under control. And they aren't going to let us stupid Americans screw that up. A few months ago, the virus was raging through most of Europe. Their hospitals were inundated with patients, and things looked very bad. Now, they have very few cases. So if you think that what's going on here in the United States is just like the way it is, it's just the way it goes. No. The reason why we're having the problems with the coronavirus here in the States is because of our leadership. Here in the U.S., some of the states who got hit hard early, like New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, have gotten the virus under control. But states in the South and in the Midwest have become the new hotspot, setting new records for COVID crisis every day. And this wasn't inevitable. The truth is that the United States has done a worse job of handling the coronavirus than almost every other country in the world. All the world has been battling the crisis. We've just done the worst job of it. So how did they solve their crisis? Actually, it's not that hard to figure out. They did a lockdown just like we did, but then when they started opening up their economy, they increased the testing. And they did all this contact tracing. So they knew where the virus was, and if somebody had it, they were isolated. And so now they have very few cases going on there. Here in the U.S., Trump has been against testing. So we're opening up the country and blundering around in the dark because we don't know where the virus is. We don't know who's got it until they show up at a hospital. It all comes down to leadership. In Europe, they explained to the people what was going on. They explained to the people that they needed to social distance. When they started opening up, you got to social distance, you got to wear masks. They limited how things were going. And they did all kinds of contact tracing. So that if they found somebody with the virus, they isolated them. They didn't let them go around spreading it. And the people, since they had the facts explained to them, they understood the seriousness of the situation and they cooperated. They wore the masks. They did the social distancing. And now their economy can open up. Here in the good old USA, our president, instead of preparing for the arrival of the virus and planning how to control it, was going around saying it was a fraud and a fake and a hoax. And some of his people still believe it. And even after it got here, he still refused to deal with it. Instead of mobilizing the assets and power of the federal government, he insisted that, hey, the states are on their own. It's up to them to deal with it. It was their responsibility, not his. And Trump was a constant source of false and misleading information about the virus, contradicting his own disease and health experts. And he's resisted testing and still continues to. He's going to cut off funding for testing as of the end of this month because the numbers will make him look bad. But it doesn't matter if you don't do the tests. The virus is still there. The virus is still happening, and people are showing up at hospitals and people are dying, and you can't hide that. As a matter of fact, you can't open up the economy safely without the testing. And it would actually stimulate the economy because people aren't working right now. They need jobs. And we would need to hire hundreds of thousands of people to do contact tracing for the coronavirus. So they'd have money in their pockets, they'd be able to spend money, and it would stimulate the economy. But as long as we don't know where the virus is, our economy is going to sputter along. And that's why the stock market has been plunging for the past couple of weeks. And Trump has turned social distancing and wearing masks into a political issue when it should just be a matter of safety. So now we have a whole bunch of people who refuse to wear masks or maintain social distance. I even saw people at a city council meeting yelling and screaming that it was a violation of their constitutional rights to be required to wear a mask. Well, last time I checked, there's nothing in the Constitution that says you have a right to go around infecting people. But when you have a moron for a president, it's not surprising that his supporters are stupid too. So getting the virus under control here in the United States is going to be extremely difficult, if not impossible. So now we have the virus exploding in states like Texas, Arizona, Arkansas, and Mississippi, where Trump has a lot of supporters. And those states are in big trouble. Their hospitals are filling up. They don't have enough protective equipment. They don't have enough ventilators. Does that sound familiar? And all those governors, they're loyal Trump acolytes, but they have to realize that that loyalty only goes one way. They can't count on him for help. If they turn to Trump for help, he'll treat them just like he treated the governors of the blue states when they got the virus. So Trump supporters are about to get an up-close and personal look at what passes for leadership in the Trump administration. And believe me, it's not pretty. Thanks for listening.